Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Morgan Wheeler. I'm the Director of Sales here at Cities Digital. We're going to give the presentation just a couple more minutes before we get started here, probably T-minus 2 minutes, just to let a last few group of people get into the room, and then we'll get right started. Thank you so much for being with us today, and I'll be right back with you. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our webinar today. We will be discussing the new features in the just released 4.0 version of the Cities Digital Laserfiche and Junxure integration. My name is Morgan Wheeler. I am the Director of Sales here at Cities Digital. I know you all have many tasks clamoring for your attention this morning, and I thank you for giving us your time. This will be a fairly short demonstration and to the point. If there are any questions, my contact information is listed here and will return at the end of the presentation. I'm recording this particular webinar, and it will be available on our website and YouTube channel shortly as well. So let's go ahead and get started. For the newer folks on the line, our company, Cities Digital, has grown to be the largest Laserfiche reseller and integration partner over our 13-year history within the financial services sector. We have a certified project management team, a separate development team that oversees the integration we'll discuss today, a scanning bureau, 5 regional offices, and are well known for our work. One of our many integrations making Laserfiche relevant in the financial services space is, of course, the Junxure CRM integration that we'll see today. We win many awards, including the yearly Run Smarter Award from Laserfiche for our work, and have a highly available support team and well-known training programs as well. Laserfiche, the manufacturer of the product Cities Digital, my company, resells, is a well-established privately owned U.S. company with a little over 40,000 installations worldwide now. It permeates a number of different industries with relevant, forward-thinking add-ons like workflow, forms, digital signatures, client portal integrations, etc., as well as seamlessly interfacing with the Windows applications and environment with out-of-the-box integrations with applications like Outlook, Office, and SharePoint, as well as apps for the various mobile devices that we find in use in our personal and, of course, now business lives as well. Junxure is an on-premise CRM solution, at least the desktop version of the Junxure suite we'll be discussing today. There's also the Junxure Cloud application for another presentation. But it is a CRM solution for financial advisors that was created exclusively for financial advisors, based explicitly on the experiences of advisors. It becomes the nerve center for your practice and greatly improves streamlining and systematizing your operations. And it integrates with a number of applications in the financial space, including Laserfiche, which we'll discuss here today. They have been a long-standing partner of both Laserfiche and Cities Digital. Our two teams know each other intimately and are, of course, also our personal friends. We are proud to be with them. So the Cities Digital Junxure Laserfiche integration is used to link client records from Junxure to Laserfiche client folders. This integration is complete with a Documents tab in Junxure showing all corresponding client documentation from Laserfiche. It is essentially a replacement to your P drive or J drive or other so named Junxure backend. The Junxure integration contains a robust set of features for document synchronization with Laserfiche. This includes the ability to view all documents stored in Laserfiche in the Documents tab within Junxure, store documents in customized folder structures in Laserfiche using the dataset in Junxure as the guide, provide automatic importation of all documents stored on the P drive or J drive, or maybe you have another name for it. It allows scanning directly from the Junxure interface, and we have a small diagram on the right here that shows the drop-down, the Laserfiche drop-down in Junxure, but I have much better diagrams to show you as well. And behind that, of course, is the diagram suggesting that all of this information feeds right into both the Laserfiche and the Junxure workflow tools, and we'll see that here today. The integration includes barcode creation via Dymo label printers to automatically file and index documents. It allows you to automatically apply indexing information to new documents when scanning or importing them. So client name, account number, additional information out of Junxure automatically applied to documents and used to auto-name and route them. It simplifies Junxure, searching Laserfiche but never leaving the Junxure application. And of course, the integration creates a new folder in Laserfiche with the right subfolders whenever a new record is created in Junxure. That can also aspect is created. Others like that to be simply when the prospect becomes a client. All of that can be triggered off the various Junxure classifications. So let's review some of the new features. That's the focus of our presentation today. We'll do a more 40,000-foot strategic view of Laserfiche and Junxure in the life of a financial advisor as part of our regular monthly webinars. But for the folks on the line today, this is a very specific presentation, updating you on the latest of the Laserfiche Junxure Integration 4.0. So let's review some of these features, beginning with the integration import utility. You'll notice a much cleaner diagram here, and the dialog on the right, I mean. We have made many performance and user interface updates and consolidated the import functions into one clean new menu. In addition to being able to create and update contact folders in Laserfiche with the information in Junxure, you will also be able to import and move contact folders. In this new streamlined dialog, you'll also be able to import mail merge contacts, action documents, and company files as well. We also added an option to unmark files as read-only when imported into Laserfiche for added flexibility. The core integration itself has also had numerous improvements and user interface design updates. As requested, we can now maintain just one Laserfiche connection while Laserfiche is open, consolidating and solving some licensing concerns from a few clients. We've created a brand new contact folder viewer and stripped out the old Unfetterfiche menu. We'll see that on the very next slide. We've also added support for multiple levels of subfolders beyond the client file's initial set of subfolders, and you can thank a few clients on the webinar with us today for that update. Documents are also still displayed in the Junxure Documents tab with a few visual improvements. We, of course, keep the Laserfiche drop-down menu in Junxure that launches much of the integration's functionality. You'll see that in the upper right corner of the slide here. Documents can now easily be pushed into Junxure CRM's client portal called Client View Live as well. And that could be manual, and say you get a call from a client and you need to share a document that's not automatically posted to the client portal. Or this can be automated now as part of a regular Laserfiche workflow. So think preparation of client quarterly statements. At the end of their internal processing, maybe separating out that large batch file into multiple individual client statements. At the very end of that process, a tag is checked for the document to be automatically moved to the client portal, ad hoc or automated. Laserfiche documents can now also be attached to Junxure actions, and certain files can be marked as read-only or not, as we saw in the previous slide, to accommodate your particular processing. And to call out the new contact viewer display here a bit more, here we see the well-known Laserfiche drop-down menu in Junxure above it, of course, from the previous slide. That doesn't change. But then in front of the Junxure screenshot, we now see the brand new, completely redesigned contact viewer. You will notice a cleaner design, added button functionality, and none of the unfetterfish components. Remember, this is a window into the Laserfiche system for this specific client's files. Here, this happens to be a Ms. Deborah Barnes. That allows the user to utilize almost all of the Laserfiche functionality without leaving Junxure. And for day-to-day advisor and support staff access, this represents the majority of items they would ever want to do. Administrative utilities are not included here, but they wouldn't need to be. Starting from left to right, we'll just run through the buttons here briefly so that we know what has been added to this particular new contact viewer window. I'll return to these as well though, but briefly we have the scan button on the left. I'll highlight that with my mouse here so we know where we're looking. This launches Laserfiche scanning with client name, account number, etc. pre-populated into the Laserfiche template data, ultimately coming right out of Junxure, so that you have a fast, accurate scanning experience that then auto-names and routes the document to its correct location, using mostly data points you just pulled right out of Junxure. Maybe the user indicates the document type, but nothing else, not client name. Those items are automatically synchronized by virtue of the user's presence in Junxure. Moving to the right, you'll also see the import button. This is nothing new. It launches a regular Windows import dialog to quickly import a file into Laserfiche. It's just in a new position now. You'll also see the new folder button. That creates a new folder in Laserfiche. A delete button that deletes a file or folder in Laserfiche if you have the right to do so. There's no button for this, but you can also right-click and rename files that are ultimately stored in Laserfiche right through this contact viewer as well. You'll also notice a field data button. This opens Laserfiche metadata for this particular document, allowing users to quickly retrieve information and or participate in Laserfiche workflows from within Junxure. That's a big value there. Open in Laserfiche button right next to it. This forces documents to be opened in the Laserfiche document viewer rather than their native applications if possible. Office documents will still open in their MS Office application like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. as they should. But most importantly, PDFs in particular would now be forced to open in the Laserfiche document viewer. That is another direct from the user request. Next to that, you'll see the Change Contact button. This refreshes the contact view screen to the current contact open in Junxure. So no need to close and reopen the viewer. So if I were to add a file here in Ms. Barnes' contact viewer, so ultimately putting a file in Laserfiche right through Junxure, and then I went over to John Smith's file in Laserfiche, all I would need to do is click this Change Contact button, and we'll then see John Smith's folder here in the contact viewer. And finally, the Search button here on the right side of the menu bar launches a clean version of the search utility to search Laserfiche for various pieces of information, including full text search and template information. And we'll see that dialog as well. So we've also completely redesigned the configuration or integration settings manager utility. This also no longer uses unfetterfish profiles. And we've created a completely redesigned user interface to provide for easier configuration. We have provided a brand new profile wizard, which we see here, at least the first tab, the folder search tab. This allows us to configure folder search to auto-file new documents or create new client folders. We can configure the folder structure, the root folder or folder path, select the Junxure folder structure or briefcase, configure the default metadata, configure mail merge root folder and client subfolder destinations, configure allowed classifications, so queuing various actions in Laserfiche off of the classifications in Junxure, and created a token control button. And we'll see these here live in just a second. Oh, excuse me, we'll see these in the next slide. So moving through those tabs in the Settings Manager, we have the Folder Configuration tab here next to the default Field Data tab. So these are just two screenshots of the Junxure Integration Settings Manager, just with two different tabs illuminated. The Folder Configuration tab allows us and your team to select where the client folder is maintained that is synced to Junxure, usually within our client files folder structure. And this can be as files or briefcases even in Laserfiche. Next to it, the default Field Data tab allows us to set up tokens and grab the right Junxure information and then pre-populate that information into fields for new documents. So whether we're scanning or importing a document or otherwise bringing it into Laserfiche, these placeholders, or what are called tokens, are what would remain in this field to grab, for instance, Ms. Barnes' last name and her first name, Deborah, whenever we brought in a new document and happened to be on her contact record in Junxure. We would be able to scan that information in, and it's going to grab that information right out of Junxure and replace what are called tokens with the value for that particular client. So instead of seeing spouse last name, spouse first name, when a user drags and drops a document now, we will see Barnes, Deborah, as well as the rest of the information that we so choose to synchronize out of Junxure to guide our filing into Laserfiche. Moving down to the next tabs in the Settings Manager, we see the Allowed Classifications tab, and then next door to it we see the Mail Merge tab. The Allowed Classifications tab lets us ensure that the right document-related automation occurs with specific account types, such as current clients versus prospects. The Classification tab allows you to manage different types of contacts and the required processing in different ways. Mail Merge, the Mail Merge tab, as usual, allows us to grab documents from certain locations to then copy out or even customize for mass mailings and other distributions. And finally, in the Configurations and Setting Manager, we have made numerous improvements to the data synchronization features between Laserfiche and Junxure, within the integration, of course, including the ability to utilize the document setting, the document system setting, I should say, from Junxure. This functionality actually now disables itself when the document management system is not set to Laserfiche. Some versatility there. We're able to sync folder names when the contact information changes, so no manual updating. We sync folder locations when the contact information changes. The most viable and immediate example I could think of in that scenario would be a divorce. One family client becomes two specific clients. We can synchronize those folder locations when that contact information changes, synchronize the document name when the contact information changes. So if we used client name in automating our document names for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and now it is just Mr. Smith and Ms. Smith as separate clients, we can automatically update the file names for those two particular accounts that are now two accounts rather than one family account. We can also synchronize those document locations when the document changes without any manual intervention. And finally, lending a little more time to the improvements in the contact folder viewer. That's the most visual and likely impressive changes that have been added to version 4.0 of the integration. You will see here a completely redesigned user interface with that cleaner design and a lack of the old unfettered fish functionality. Unfettered fish was convenient code to include in the Junxure integration, but has now been removed for innate integration functionality. The new contact folder viewer supports drag and drop, just like it was a Laserfiche window itself. The scan and import buttons are easier to see but provide the same functionality. We can rename folders and documents from the contact folder viewer, as well as scan into existing folders and documents and delete folders and documents if we have the rights to do it. In the screenshot we see on our right, we can see the new cleaner search dialog as well. Excuse me, in this particular screen we see the field data dialog. We'll see the search dialog in the next screen. And this is launched right from the Junxure window. And you'll see an easy new create new Laserfiche folder button, as well as a new change refresh contact button that we discussed. And finally, there is also the new open in Laserfiche button, which, as I mentioned, forces a document to open in the Laserfiche viewer if possible. In the bottom right-hand screen, we see the field data button screen that pops up when we hit the field data button, allowing us to not only view concise, immediate information, retrieve information more quickly, but of course also interact with Laserfiche workflows, approvals, for instance, right through the Junxure application without maybe even needing to have Laserfiche open. And finally, here we see the menu that arises from the section of the search button, which has also some basic user interface improvements, but will still return the same style of search results across multiple file types and show the search hits therein. Here we've just consolidated this to 4 checkboxes that indicate the type of search and build it out on the right, allowing you to see both screens and quickly create very specific, tailored, focused searches that are of course also savable. And that brings our presentation to a conclusion. I hope these improvements excite you as much as they excite us. They are the result specifically of our devotion to listening to our clients. With these type of applications, that is the best source of feedback as to their product roadmap, as well as various feature improvements. You'll find my contact information here on this slide in front of us once again. And please feel free to contact me with any questions or comments. This presentation was recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel tomorrow. And I thank you again and hope you have a wonderful paperless day. Bye for now.